Hey guys, it's Bob Iaccino, and I wanted to talk to you about the new budget proposal from President Biden, which calls for a capital gains tax increase to 44.6%, which would be the highest the U.S. has ever seen. Previous high was 39.7% in the 70s. It also calls for a 25% tax on unrealized capital gains, meaning if your house was appraised and then a year later it was appraised higher, you would owe the money on that difference, even if you hadn't sold the house. It might leave some people taking out loans to actually pay their taxes on capital gains for something they haven't sold. So it would be paper gains, not real gains. That could go back down and then, I don't know, would they refund you? I have no idea. Now, if you've watched me before, you've seen me rail against any tax increases. And why is that? Well, it wouldn't bother me as much if the money was taxed, but the people are taxed. Meaning, if my friend Nicole buys something from me for $10, I end up with $8.50 at a 15% tax rate. Now, the tax rate's probably higher, but let's use 15% for the sake of this conversation. I did some math a while ago, and at 15%, it takes 18 tax events to reduce the original $10 that Nicole spent with me down to 50 cents, 18 times. You take that up to 16%, it's now 17.2 times. And that money just keeps getting reduced every time it's spent. And this reduces spending power, reduces economic activity, and reduces growth. That's why I rail against it. Also wouldn't bother me so much if the government spent the money efficiently. People always say to me, well, yeah, they're taxing the money, but then they're putting it back into the economy. Well, it only takes one just simple internet search to see how much of that money goes overseas in the form of aid, military, humanitarian, whatever you want to call it. So it doesn't necessarily all come right back into the economy. But when the government spends money, they spend it poorly. In November of 2021, the Bipartisan Infrastructure Act was signed into law by President Biden, and it allocated $7.5 billion for charging stations, including networks along highways. You know how many have been built to date? 7. Not 7 networks, 7 charging stations. They don't spend money efficiently, therefore reducing economic activity and concentrating the spend in a select few. This is one of the things that bothers me about politicians in general and tax increases in any form with either government, with either party in power. That's what I mean by either government, whether it's a Republican-led or Democratic-led federal government. They don't spend money efficiently. I do not agree with tax increases. That's why something like gold makes sense to me. You can figure it out for yourself why I'd rather have gold. How much gold do you think I have in my desk right now? You don't know, and neither does anyone else. So if there's an unrealized capital gains, well, try and figure it out.